All right, everyone, welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the 50th annual, that is correct, the 50th annual American Flying Disc Open, Jim Palmeri's inaugural disc golf tournament. I'm your host, Nate Perkins, and I'm here with touring professional Randon Latta. And Randon, you actually got to meet Jim earlier in the week. What's the scoop on him?
Oh man, it was really interesting. He's just such a cool guy. You can tell the history just in his voice. Felt like I was amidst a legend, and super nice, outgoing. He was very personable, and it's rightfully so. This tournament's named after him. You know, he's been around this area for so long.
Yeah, and he hosted a tournament here. 1974 was the year.
Palmeri American Flying Disc Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. Please put your hands together. From Rochester, New York, Bobby Jones!
Jim actually paid for a car with his own money to give away as a prize at the first Flying Disc Open.
Yeah, it's quite something. I heard we didn't reach a prize like that until the year 2020. That's how big of a prize it was in that day.
And Bobby Jones, well into his 60s.
From Japan, Manabu Kajiyama!
I believe Manabu is the highest rated player in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see him play this course and see him execute on some of these wooded holes.
He's going D1 here. And that's early out of the hand. He needs some help, and wow, gets it. Now, is there any chance of getting past that short pad and kind of getting a look at this pin?
Alabama, Matty Orum!
As we hear the crowd go crazy for Matty O. Yeah, I think there is. I heard in practice, even Matty here himself was getting pretty far up there. I think a good position regardless is anywhere around the short pad, and if you bite off a little more than that, you've just started your day really well. Looks like Matt's even just going for the forehand here to keep it in bounds and get his round started easily.
Yeah, pretty conservative play.
On our feature card today, from Lawrenceville, Georgia, Ezra Robinson!
And Ezra has really been on a heater the second half of this season. Oh, and just pushes that one a bit straight and finds that OB line.
And if that one had checked up a bit sooner, he would have been past that short pad in a really ideal position.
Matty O probably 315 out. And a fortunate little kick there. He finds himself safe short of the creek.
Wow, Manabu pinched off quite a bit. He has to go forehand flex. Also stays in bounds.
Now, Brandon, I really want to ask you, like, how does a player make the decision to play this Silver Series event with Worlds starting the Wednesday after this event finishes?
Yeah, I think with it being the 50th annual, you know, it draws you in. You bet you want to come see what this place has to offer, and heard so many good things about Rochester growing up. And that's just the icing on the cake. I think a lot of us see the opportunity to kind of shine for the Disc Golf Network and on coverage here, and possibly contend for a win, and just keep the momentum going before Worlds and get some good practice in a competitive mindset.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first Silver Series that we really had where the field isn't extremely deep. I think we had a lot of late drops because people kind of realized that if they played this tournament, they might only get like a day and a half of practice up in Vermont.
Yeah, looking back a few weeks ago, you would have seen all sorts of names signed up for this tournament, and I think that just comes with the tour card. When you get a tour card, it's easier to sign up for all the events in the beginning of the year rather than as you go week to week or however it may be. So realizing, the mixed pro doubles starts Saturday, it kind of just crosses over with this tournament, so a lot of people ended up dropping out.
After a bunch of quality approaches, Ezra gets up and down for the par after finding that OB. Now, you do a little bit of traveling with Ezra. I believe you said that you might be staying with him this week. What's the spot like?
Yeah, that's correct. We have an amazing couple that's hosting us, and we're right on Lake Ontario with an amazing view, and the water's just perfect temperature, and we've been jumping in there every day after our rounds. Very fortunate to find a place like that with such amazing people.
Yeah, disc golf community is pretty special. I feel like it's one of the things that keeps bringing us all back to these events.
Yeah, that's no doubt about that. I played around last weekend at Deglo with
Manabu?
Yeah.
You got to play with Manabu at Deglo?
Yeah, I sure did.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really
cool. How was
cool.
that?
It was amazing. I mean, he's super nice, and just asking him how he's liking his trip over here so far, and he seems to really be enjoying it. And I know that course last weekend was very long, and he struggled a bit, but he also has his caddy over here named Ko, who's playing in this event, 997 rated, and it's been just really cool to get to talk to them and have a bit of a cultural conversation about how things are different and stuff like that.
I love Manabu. He's an icon for disc golf in general, but certainly for Asian disc golf. And he's actually been traveling over to the United States since 2006. So he really treats this game different than most people that I've seen in the past. He really kind of considers it an expression of art.
Yeah, I think the first time I played with him was in 2017 or 2018 Worlds, which was really cool. And I heard throughout the week he was out there practicing quite a bit and trying to dial in his game. I don't know how long jet lag lasts, but maybe he was just really happy to be on this course.
And this hole kind of sets the tone for a lot of these par threes out here. They're tight, and they really have one kind of specific line that you need to hit. What's the line here, Randon?
There's this corner tree that you see. There's kind of a gap that you just want to hyzer flip slowly around if you're throwing backhand. I actually prefer the forehand line because it tends to pan out and get flatter to the ground. You don't want to skip too much because the OB is very tight to the basket behind it.
It's one of the holes that just has some trees late in the flight that can be a bit frustrating. Trees out there at, Circle's Edge, out there at that 50-foot mark, and can kind of prevent you from really parking the hole.
Yeah, as we see Manabu catch a late one, he should be close to Circle's Edge, if not inside of it.
Let's go.
Mario dropping one in early.
I love this jump putt. The way he just kind of pulls it from his chest and it comes out so cleanly. It was not a problem for him to hyzer around some of those late trees we were just talking about.
Yeah, that face right there. He is a national treasure. Yeah, Matty actually switched. I believe he tried out the Pure for a while earlier this season. And midway through the year, he went back to the Judge. So a little bit deeper, and I believe the Pure is beadless. So he went back with a deeper putter with a little bead on it.
Yeah. I believe Bobby is a local here to the Rochester area, and
Yeah, he's been signed up for the PDGA since '85, and just incredible. And I believe he played 34 PDGA tournaments last year, so the man really loves this game, and it's keeping him active. And pretty cool that the local club kind of put him on this feature card. All right, hole 3, par 3, 440 feet, tight gap, maybe 80 feet off the pad. Really specific shape here, kind of a hyzer flip out the gap, but then you have to get in front of this grouping of trees on the right. Really hard to imagine someone parking this hole.
yeah, it takes a full distance driver nearly, and a bit of a skip towards the end, because as you'll see, there's that clump of trees you mentioned on the right that you want to come in front of, but you don't want to go too far left because there is this wood line all the way down. Looks like Matteo is going to leave himself close to 70 feet, and that's not a bad drive on this hole at all.
And you can see a few of these players putting towels down on the tee pads. Brandon, what do you have to say about the tee pads at this event?
Well, yeah, the course, the club in the city of Rochester have worked really hard to bring this tournament to this area, and I know this is a park that hasn't been used for a couple years, and they've redesigned it for this event. So most of the tee pads are very freshly poured concrete, which made them a bit slick. The night before, it rained quite a bit. I heard we got anywhere from like 1 to 2 inches. You can see some of the standing water down the fairways, and the ends of the tee pads were very slick. You see Bobby take a great drive.
Wow, very impressive. Oh, kind of pulls it.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about this course especially, is most of the greens are very open or very fair. So even though it seemed a bit pulled, he's going to have himself inside the circle look for par.
And Ezra kind of smoked his drive out of the gap, but he just wasn't able to get in front of that cluster right there, and he's left with nothing.
Back circle 2 makes. This is outside circle 2. An amazing putt by Matteo to keep his round going on a hot start.
Mario really loves to reference either golf or football when he drops a long one in, and I think he would call that one 3rd and 15.
Come on, get it! Let's go!
Oh, Bobby wanted it.
Yeah, I was actually finished with my round and in the parking lot when Matteo made that, and we thought someone had aced. It was such a loud eruption from the crowd. You see Manabu tap in his par.
And Matteo was actually the only birdie on the day.
Yeah, it just goes to show how long and tough that this hole really is, and he was a bit out of position even and made himself a long putt for the birdie.
All right, taking a look at the scores after 3 holes. A couple of new names up there. Calvin Caldwell, Van Sumeren, Stocklin.
I'm asked all the time, why do you play disc golf so much? The best answer I can think about is, there's just something about disc golf. You might think it's just like any other sport, but I can promise you this is not the case. Disc golf is the walking nature, the closing of your computer, the discipline that it requires, that sound of those chains. I don't know what it is. The whole world should have the opportunity to try it. Let's grow the sport.
All right, we're back here at hole 4. It's a 815-foot par 4. I believe OB down the left side and the right side. It's going to circle around the back of the basket. You're going to want to get your tee shot fairly far out there and try to keep it in the middle, because you see these trees on right and left side that can just kind of get in your way. They're not very big, but they can make the second shot very tricky coming into this green. Basket's a bit pushed back from this tree line, so you kind of want to get a skip into the green, and the OB line's a good 25 to 30 feet behind it.
Clean. Not many people deliver the disc the way that Matt does. It's one of those styles that you just can't really teach, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Mattio's been playing this game longer than I've been alive, I think, and it's just a form that comes with his own personal experiences, you know, maybe who he grew up around and the way his body's adapted to it, and he's just impeccable at it. He's so good with what he can do with a disc.
Doesn't seem like he's lost a step either in his later years. It almost feels like he's throwing further here into his mid-30s.
Yeah, it sure seems that way.
Is this D2 that Ezra's ripping on? Throws this red one a lot.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's a D2. I'm not sure, though.
Miss Hack. Oh, no, don't go in the trees. Don't do that.
Yeah, as you can tell, Bobby had that one a little nose up, but it's going to stay in bounds. And he's actually looking high with this shot. He's going to go big roller and try to get over that tree. Didn't quite see where that one finished, but the crowd liked it.
Oh, a little slip right there, and unfortunate. He hasn't really found his groove yet. A couple of late releases and then a little slip there, and Mattio from perfect position, not going to give that one the life, and outside circle 2.
Yeah, like I said, it rained quite a bit the night before, so even the fairways are very saturated and can be hard to commit to your footing. You see Ezra throw a great hyzer. It looks like it spikes into the green. Circle's edge.
And Bobby is definitely one of those players that likes to let you know how he feels about his shots as they're coming in.
Yeah, as I heard Simon tell me one time, it's okay to be passionate about your throws. It's okay to talk to him.
Can he keep it rolling from 80 feet?
Oh. Got 2 holes in a row.
Yeah,
Indeed.
walking them in. They look good. He'll get one to drop. That one started offline and just stayed right.
Yeah, Manabu still looking to find a bit of a groove early on, but
Nice putt.
it's not a bad thing on this course. I feel like the first 4 holes can be a bit intimidating. They all have their differences, and we were talking in practice that a couple down or even on the first 4 is okay to start this course.
Could you not move?
Oh, and yeah, always just a little awkward, when the fan moves, but the player still proceeds with the putt and then kind of dishes the blame out.
Yeah.
It's always just that unfortunate for kind of both parties there.
Yeah, it's definitely hard with such a great crowd on a Friday afternoon to completely tune everything out and focus on what you need to do right in front of you. And Ezra had mentioned that when he got back to the house and said it was just a bit unfortunate timing was all. I think he had a bug or something fly into his face and just pulled his hat down to kind of get it out of the way, and you can tell it definitely ruffled Bobby's feathers.
Yeah, and he's probably not really used to playing in front of too many people, and certainly, live cameras. So, all right, we're moving on to hole 5. This is one of the shorter par 4s here, and don't need a ton of distance off the tee. You just need to get right around that cluster on the right, give yourself an angle, and then you have a series of gaps and a little low ceiling here that kind of guards this pin. Certainly a scoreable hole, though.
Yeah, the tree line on the left is pretty thick. You're trying to get up there somewhere where you see those 3 trees in the middle of the fairway and really give yourself a chance to throw it into the green. Looks like Ezra's going with that same red disc again. It might be that D2. Really ripped on this thing.
Oof. That was going places. You'll still have the angle right there.
Yeah. There is an OB line down the right side, but unless you get a really unfortunate kick, it shouldn't come into play too much.
Look at the late turn on this. Yeah. Just past that cluster that kind of opens up your angles.
Oh, into the puddle. Yeah, we did get casual relief from some of the standing water, and it looked like Manabu had a bit of a slip there on the tee. It was difficult to fully commit to your tee shots today with the weather we had the night before and the newer tee pads.
Yeah, it's one of those feelings in the game too, where even if you don't slip, just the anticipation of potentially slipping kind of gets in your head, and you're focusing on the wrong things, and it can be really hard to play the game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. As we see Manabu opting to just stand in the water, I think it helps this angle to the green a bit more. If you're 30 feet behind this, it definitely makes it a bit trickier. He's going cut roller.
Wow. What an attempt, and that needs to stay on cut, and it is curling out and into the out of bounds.
Wow, yeah, and looks like Matty O goes distance driver there and has quite a bit of ground play and still outside the circle, and I think that goes to show just how tucked this basket is to the left.
Get down.
And catches the last Guardian there at 50 feet. He'll have his first look at birdie.
Yeah, and Ezra, the best drive of the group, and also catches one of those last trees, and we'll still have a putt for birdie. After going OB, throws it into circle 1.
on the board yet, but he's due for a long putt. I believe that's one of his stronger aspects. All right, Ezra from 70 feet. Oh, rare to see him not catch any part of the basket there.
Able to clean up with no problem, though. See Bobby take a bit more time. Make sure really gives this one a solid chance to stick into the chains. Ezra also cleaning up his par.
Well, 6th most difficult hole in the course, .34 over par. Kind of surprising, less than 10 birdies on the day.
Yeah, I think the shape of this hole is harder to figure out from the tee. I know it just seems very pinched, but when you turn around and look back at it, it's not as bad as you think.
And this is a hole where you really get to open up. What kind of shape are you looking for off this tee, Randon?
The OB opens up a lot on the left, and the tree line down this whole right side kind of makes you want to throw a hyzer out to the left a little bit here and really open up this gap. We see these branches the drone's about to fly next to. Those will really get in your way on the upshot if you can't hyzer out left enough or get far enough. But I have a feeling this hole is going to play pretty easy for these guys.
Is a roller possible here? This grass isn't really rolling too well.
Yeah, the grass is definitely making it challenging.
I haven't seen too many rollers yet this week.
No, that it is freshly mowed and very nice, but with just how much water we got yesterday, it's making it tough. You could see some rollers later on in the weekend, I believe.
Big bomb from Ezra there. Oh, whoa. Oh, and just riding over the head of the gallery. He was so concerned.
Yeah, that was scary for a second, but Dis flipped a flat and kept himself in bounds. He's actually going to be in a pretty good spot to attack the green, I think.
Yeah, left is really nice spot to be. Oh, and you can see Bobby getting a little frustrated there with the tee pads. It's definitely going to be a recurring theme here.
As we see Manabu do a great job of sticking on that plant foot on that towel and keeping it right down the middle of the fairway. Hole 6 here. For my round this morning, it was the worst tee pad. They seemed to get a little better as the day went on, but this one in particularly was a bit bad.
Come on, work. Work.
We're getting that roller you're asked for.
Come on.
It's working out pretty good.
Oh, exceptional cut roller right there. Stayed on cut the whole way.
Wow. Yeah, we see Manabu didn't quite get as left as I think you need to be, but there was a beautiful turnover, and he's going to put himself inside the circle for a chance for birdie. Wow. Yeah, just a stock hyzer from anywhere from 300 to 350. Give himself a chance to get another birdie on the scorecard.
Did he call himself Matthew on that one? I think he said, Matthew, get down. I personally think that all players should have mics on them so that we can hear their self-talk.
It would definitely be funny to listen to Bobby's conversations with himself throughout this round.
Oh,
look at
arms
that.
are up. He wants it so
That
bad.
was from 90 feet or so. I mean, that was an incredible bid. But yeah, I mean, Matteo is just one of those players in particularly that's just a joy to be around.
Oh, there we go. Manabu is on the board.
Yeah, after a few early bogeys, that putt and that birdie should hopefully get things turning around for him. So see Ezra also tap in his birdie. I say tap in, that's a 27-footer or so. I mean, that's a great birdie.
Yeah, he makes it look like a tap in. Now his putt is starting to look a little like his brother's as far as how casual it is, and I kind of brought it up to Ezra in an interview, and he said, "Well, I've always been the better putter, so good for Isaac to start putting it like me."
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine having a brother that's also equally as competitive and amazing at disc golf. So I imagine they go back and forth quite a bit with who throws the better shot or who throws like who. But either way, they're both incredible putters. They make it look very easy out there on the course.
All right, after 6 holes, Matteo is in the lead. Log jam there at 2 under par. Lots of new names up there. Love to see this. Of course, we'd love to have all those familiar names in the house, but really cool to see the people that did come out for this one. And wow, this is a demanding shape right here. What does it require?
Yeah, this one, very pinched off the tee. You're going to need to throw a flex shot to avoid the trees on the left. And there's a big oak in the middle of the fairway. You want to kind of pick a side or hope it picks a side for you. Get down to this green, which has these smaller trees on the right and the left. And the entire hole's laced with OB, right side and left side. Very demanding tee shot. Ezra had that one out on a great line, just caught some of those last saplings on the left. It's going to leave him in circle 2, it looks like.
And that looks pure. And it actually catches the center fairway tree and kicks him immediately left out of bounds.
Yeah, I saw that a few times in practice this weekend. It's just really tough. You can hardly see it right there on the corner, and looks like Manabu's doing a great job of navigating it and putting himself inside circle 1 for a birdie. Look.
Oh, Bobby, you're killing me.
That's going to leak out of bounds on the left side as well.
Oh, that is so terrible.
Okay, so after finding the OB, he's got a little hyzer chip right here. I think he's been throwing the harp for this shot.
Yeah, it makes it look easy, even though he definitely had a gap to hit out of his hand.
Oh, is Ezra putting with PA1?
Yes, he is.
Wow. So that's their most overstable putter?
I'm not sure. I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
I think it's their straighter, more neutral putter.
Okay.
I know Isaac does make fun of him for using those.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen too many players putt with PA1. I feel like they all putt with PA3.
Yeah. So you see Manabu make a great birdie putt there and get back to even after 7, seeming to turn things around here. Yeah, although this hole is downhill, it only plays, or it says it's 350, it probably plays closer to 300. It's just so demanding, and the tee's push back just enough to make it have to really commit to throwing towards that center tree in the middle and hoping to avoid it.
All right, we're moving into the easiest hole on the course, number 8, just 255 feet. Basket on this little hillside. Definitely some rollaway potential here, and that OB kind of creeps into circle's edge and even maybe 20 feet deep of this pin. A lot of players that are just throwing a little chip forehand on this hole.
Yeah, although it's the easiest, it definitely has some teeth. You know, this slope on the green shows a lot of rollaways, and there's 2 of those trees right before that can also cause rollaways here.
Just flashing the shines there.
That was incredible. Giving it the height. Looks like it's stuck on the hillside as well. That should be another birdie for Manabu.
Kind of pulls it, needs some help. Oh, and doesn't get it.
Man. Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a surprise to see. Maybe it was the tee pad, you know, like we were talking about, just committing to that plant foot, or with it being so humid out here today, maybe just held on to it a bit longer than he needed to, obviously. Matteo also going with the forehand. It's getting actually a very bad roll after throwing it almost in bullseye. But he's going to have a look for birdie.
A split grip forehand there from Bobby, and that is pure, and that sticks on the hill.
Loving that.
You know, I love to see his attitude out here. You know, obviously he's having a really tough time on the course, but that was on the pole.
Way uphill, outside circle 1. Matteo does not disappoint.
He's stomping on the disc because it rolled away on him. Little 28-footer back up the hill.
That's a great par save by Ezra. It's not a hole he would like to bogey at all, so being able to capitalize and make that putt from there is a good confidence booster going into the later half of this course.
There we go. He's on the board. Bobby Jones cards his first birdie of the round.
Manabu. We always say it's a joke when you throw a drive that good, don't hit your head, but with this basket position, it looked like he nearly did. It's such a good drive.
And he finds himself under par. He's definitely still in this tournament after the slow start. And hole 9, probably one of the most demanding, perhaps the most demanding tee shot of the round, 460 feet, and you have to hit this one on a rope.
Yeah, this hole's quite long, as you can see, and I think it plays a bit uphill. OB behind the basket, and you know, if you're trying to get all the way there, that definitely comes into your head a bit to avoid the trees on the right and avoid some of the scattered trees in the middle. This really takes a full power shot to get all the way to this basket.
Oh, and Manabu actually going H7 roller here. Needs that to stay on cut, and again, this one's curling out a little too early.
Should be all right. There's vines and stuff on the right there that will keep him from going too far in the woods, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of got on top of that driver a little bit. I think he's throwing the Rive right now for his drivers.
Yeah, I believe it's the Orbit Rive. I think you're right.
Bobby been going with this kind of flippy D3. And pretty confident it's a D2, but for all you fans out there who actually know, let me have it if it's not the D2. And look at this shot. A little high, thought it might catch the ceiling, but finds the pocket, and that's the best drive we've seen so far here on the 9th.
Yeah, as we see Bobby throw a great up shot into the circle. This hole definitely averaged above par. Very hard to get a birdie look at. Anabu able to pitch out of the woods there. He's not going to be disappointed with a par on this hole. I mean, oh man, and that would have been the only birdie of the day on this hole, I believe.
Yeah, you're right, man. That's
Oh
no, and Matty O fails to get up and down from inside 200 feet. And yeah, it's pretty rare to have a hole.
So we make sure we go out the back.
yeah, I mean, the difficulty of this hole is definitely up there, but the conditions didn't help at all either.
That was garbage.
I wonder if we asked Matteo about that putt, if he would say he missed or if he felt more about a spit out there. I mean, he did catch quite a bit of chains and fall out the back.
All right. Taking a look at the scorecard here. Ezra Robinson kept it clean, but just 2 birdies there on the front. Matty O finishes at 2 under with those 2 blemishes, and Manabu got himself back under par after the slow start. Bobby's having himself a good time out there, and looks like 3 under was the hot front 9. This course is kind of playing tough, Randon.
Yeah, we see some names like Connor Rock, Tony Farrow, Zach Arlinghouse, and Martin Hendel.
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Central Coast Disc Golf. Give it up for Randon. This is his very first time doing post-production, taking time out of his evening. He's competing in this event. Randon, thank you so much for joining me here, and we'll see you soon for part 2.